Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Way That I See It. My name is Lucy Superfox, and this is my podcast. So, in this episode today, I want to talk about building back from burnout. And it's something that I am fully in the process of doing, that I have been really working on unintentionally for a while, not really knowing what I was working on, and then very much consciously working on it as something that really not only is required and only is necessary for me, but also something that I'm very passionate about, and a topic and a subject I'm very passionate about sharing with other people. So right now, no matter how you are feeling, I'm going to talk today about what burnout really looks like. And I touched on this in my last episode about the fact that most people believe burnout is just getting sick at Christmas or having a bad run after something happens in life. And the truth is, burnout can happen in a chronic way. Burnout can happen as a result of chronic behaviors. And in fact, that's how it usually happens, is a result of our chronic behavior and a chronic mindset rather than a one-time thing. So first of all, let me just explain what actually happens again in burnout, because I got quite a lot of questions after last week, and I don't know whether that's because I didn't explain it fully or whether because actually right now what people need to do is they need to understand more. So let me share this with you. So firstly, what happens is you have two parts to your nervous system. You have your sympathetic and your parasympathetic. Now, two parts to your central nervous system. You have much more parts to your nervous system. So your central nervous system is basically made up of two distinct parts, your sympathetic and your parasympathetic. Your sympathetic nervous system is your react system. That's the thing that kicks in to keep you safe, stops you getting run over, puts your foot on the brake when a child runs out in the road. And then your parasympathetic nervous system is your relaxed system. That's your cues to slow down. That's your cues to relax, to chill out, to have fun, to step into those energies and emotions. So if you think about kind of the energy and emotion behind the two things, I very much feel like react is a good way to describe the sympathetic and relax is a good way to describe the parasympathetic. So what often happens though is that our body loses the regulation between when to be in sympathetic and when to step into parasympathetic. So what we're supposed to be is supposed to be living, basically flitting between the two as required, but very much in a situation where our sympathetic nervous system is only activated in moments of peak stress or moments of one-time moments or dealing with a situation, because it was really designed to keep us alive and keep us safe. That from an evolutionary perspective, our sympathetic nervous system is designed to keep us alive, right? And our parasympathetic nervous system is designed to keep us regulated and calm and get the body back into restoration mode. So we can get stuck basically in any part of the nervous system. We can also get stuck in the middle. And this is something that I've personally experienced, and it is way worse than being stuck in either side. I can tell you that from personal experience. So what can often happen is over time, when we stay in the sympathetic nervous system, we stay in this kind of state of like chronic overstimulation, whether that's through, always being on your phone, whether that is being, having a really stressful job, whether that is being in a situation where you've got some personal stuff going on, or, let's face it, the last few years, the trauma from the pandemic is definitely something that's left a lot of our sympathetic nervous systems massively switched on. So with that being said, what happens on a chemical level is your adrenals, which are basically your adrenal hormones or adrenal glands, can only physically pump cortisol, which is basically our adrenaline hormone. That's the thing that surges along with a couple of other hormones. So you've got like epinephrine or norepinephrine, and basically it gives you that kind of like, that kind of feeling. Can only do that for so long before it actually starts to downregulate. Now, the challenge is when that downregulates, a lot of other things in your body downregulate. So like in the Becoming course, in the Becoming module 6, I basically break this down into massive amounts of detail in terms of what actually happens. And one of the big things that happens is we actually downregulate gut function, we downregulate hormonal function, we downregulate energetic capacity. And all three of those things are required not only for health and well-being, but also required for manifestation, right? And so this is why people who are burnt out struggle to manifest or struggle to create change, because physically your energetic capacity on an energetic level is massively reduced because you're draining energy from around you, right? Rather than overflowing or expanding energy, because your nervous system is actually, which is the center of your energy centers, right? Your nervous system isn't operating and being able to move into restoration mode because it's burnt itself out. So the term burnout actually refers to kind of like running out of fuel. So if you've been in a chronic state of stress for a long period of time, whether that's physical stress, like an illness, mental stress, like work, emotional stress, like relationships, grief, those kind of things, all three of those things, and especially a lot of us go through all three of those things at once, right? We live in an overstimulated world. So whether it's chemical, emotional, or physical, that kind of like stress response, it doesn't really matter which way it started, whether it started with the chemical, the emotional, or the physical. doesn't actually matter, because the result of burnout is it will affect all three. So chemically, you will experience symptoms like downregulated gut function. Maybe you have dysregulated sleep patterns. Emotionally, you'll experience things like feeling lackluster, feeling like you don't have drive for things, feeling flat about anything, maybe even just feeling apathetic. It might not even be that you feel down particularly, but you just don't really feel anything. And then on a physical level, it might be that you are exhausted all the time. It might be that you develop some sensitivities and allergies. It might be that you feel your tolerance for things is way less. So whether that's your pain tolerance, your stress tolerance, your exercise tolerance. So all of these things are an indication of burnout on a chemical level. But it's not to say that the reason that you are experiencing burnout is from a chemical experience. And this is what most people misunderstand, is they try to fix things on a chemical level when the reason for burnout could have been emotional. The reason for burnout could have been physical. The reason for burnout could have been chemical. Of course it could. But a lot of what happens is we get band-aided with medications and blood tests and trying to fix problems. And what we need to do is look at ourselves holistically, look at our life and think, actually, have I gone beyond what I have the energetic capacity to create? Because if that is the case, the likelihood is you have stepped from your sympathetic and you are stuck in your sympathetic and you're not able to restore and move into your parasympathetic. Now, what's also happened to me, which has been delightful, is that I have been caught in something called dorsal vagal frontal freeze, which is basically, and I'm no scientist, right? Is basically I'm stuck between the two. So I'm not in sympathetic where I can react quickly, and then I'm not in parasympathetic where I restore. I'm kind of a lot of the time in this middle ground of just nothing. And I can tell you that that is the most awful feeling. And this is my guesstimate, is that a lot of people get diagnosed with depression. I'm not depressed. I know I'm not depressed. I'm able to enjoy, I have joy. I can experience emotions, right? But my nervous system capacity is so slim. And this is why I do the work that I do. This is why I'm passionate about teaching this, because I think so many people are going down an avenue about what they need to fix and work on. And actually the truth is what they actually need to fix and work on is their nervous system. And so I know that this place feels intoxicating. If you are a high performer, you're someone who's achieved great things, you're someone who can put forth great amounts of effort, great amounts of energy. Honestly, this place is intoxicating. So whether right now you are someone who feels like you're exhausted all the time, burnt out, you're stuck in that sympathetic where you're constantly reactive, constantly having in a bad mood, constantly overstimulated, whether you're in the middle where you feel like frozen, like you feel like nothing, or whether you're in the sympathetic where you're just exhausted all the time, parasympathetic where you feel emotional, you're exhausted all the time, sleeping all the time, like wherever you are, burnout is a reality right now on a chemical, emotional, mental, and physical level. And so the answer to all of those things, regardless of how you got there, is to almost forget how you got there and actually look at what do you need to do next. So number one, you are going to have to rebuild your microbiome. You are going to have to rebuild your gut health. The truth is there is a likely big part of what's going on with you that's being affected by your microbiome, whether that's to do with bacterial profile, whether that's to do with your immunity, like you are probably going to have to do some work on your gut health. The second thing is you're going to have to do some work on your mindset. You're going to have to change the way you think about things. The likelihood is you've been caught in a program about being in burnout or being exhausted or being down or whatever way you describe your current self. And truthfully, that you are going to have to reprogram the way that you think about the situation. You're also going to have to shift the nervous system. You're going to shift it from wherever it is. You have to help it shift gears, whether it's from sympathetic into freeze into parasympathetic, whether it's from parasympathetic into freeze and sympathetic. So basically you can move through the traffic lights, right? Like red, amber, green, green, amber, red, like, because otherwise you're stuck and you're just not moving anywhere. You're either foot down all the time and you're going to burn out and crash. You're either on red, you can barely do anything, or amber, we just feel nothing. And none of those states is great. So you're going to have to basically do some of the work on the nervous system, which is primarily somatic work. Also clearing the kind of the stories, the narratives that you are, the beliefs that have led you to be burnt out, like must work harder, the only way I can earn my money is work harder, like the stories that have created the burnout situation, plus the somatic work to clear the energetic, that's the way I describe it, to clear the way the energy has been programmed in the body. And then finally is to nourish and freaking take care of yourself, you know, the big five. So we're talking about gut health briefly, but the quality of nutrition, your sleep, your water, your exercise, and your sunlight. And those 5 things, plus the mindset, plus the somatic. I mean, guys, this is why I made the Becoming course. Like, I'm not sat here on a silver perch to tell you I fucking got this all figured out permanently. But what I will tell you is this course is the absolute bollocks. And this course is the result of 14 months of work, plus all my experience before that, but 14 months of work plowed into what will be 6 modules. So I'm literally about to go film module 6 straight after this podcast recording, on how to re-regulate your nervous system, how to take yourself from somebody who feels disjointed, who feels lost, who feels apathetic, who feels unsure, who feels stuck, to somebody who feels empowered, confident, transformed, energetic. I hate the phrase in control, but someone who feels like they have power over themselves, so they have mastery over themselves. That's self-mastery, right? Self-mastery will take you everywhere. And what most people misunderstand is they think that the feeling of being in control of a situation is what gives them mastery. What gives you mastery is self-control, is the ability to regulate yourself. And it's not control to manipulate, it's control to regulate, that you can regulate yourself no matter what happens, that when a bad day comes, you still feel good about your goals, that when grief happens, that you still feel like you're worthy, that when, you know what, life smacks you square in the face with an experience, that doesn't take you off track. And it's not because you're made of steel, and it's not because you're made of stone, and it's not because you're never in your feminine energy. That's not what this is about. What it's about is being able to regulate yourself beyond the circumstances and situations in your life. And that is a goal worth striving for, because a regulated nervous system is somebody who is a master of themselves. And when we're a master of ourselves, we're a master of our energy. And when we're a master of our energy, we're a master of manifestation, because manifestation is a result not only of how we think, but how we feel and how we act. And all 3 of those things are dictated by how we regulate ourselves and how we master ourselves. So your bounce back from burnout, what does that look like? Well, like I've said, number 1, there's a gut health piece in there. Number 2, it's the big 5. Number 3, it is the mindset work followed with the somatic work. So somatic work on its own is awesome, and you might feel released, but often you will create stories and narratives about how you ended up where you are. And most of us, because of the 95% of how our mind works, 95% is programmed, if we don't actually give meaning to the transformation, if we don't tell a story about what the transformation or journey has meant, often the somatic work is only temporary results, in my experience and my experience with clients. Because unless we're able to release the stories, to change the narratives, to then form and create new belief systems to go alongside the clearance, we actually still keep ourselves in a relatively passive state. So I'm a big believer in making this an active process of clearing the energy, clearing the stories, clearing the trauma, you know, and actually at the same time, rewriting the story, rewriting the narrative, forgiving, letting go, deciding who we want to be, writing a new story for our lives, and joining those things together. And this is why I made the Becoming course, guys. This is why this course exists, because I'd never made a course like this before. All my courses have been like, you know, very topical. So like I have a money course, right? I have a manifestation program, like, but this is like the transformation program. This is the master anything you fucking want program, because when you step into the 5 steps of the first 5 modules, and then the 6th module is really about kind of what we just talked about. So the first module is clearing. So that is clearing everything, the who you've been, that's clearing all the bullshit, it's clearing all the narratives, clearing all the stories. And then we've got healing. So this is where we bring in the somatic works, when we bring in the rewriting. Then we've got restoring, how are you taking care of yourself, nourishing yourself, pouring into yourself. Then we've got manifesting, so really learning how to become a master manifester. And module 5 is about becoming. It's about the total transformation. It's about the ongoing processes. It's about the systems and who you're going to be. And then module 6 is all about burnout and the bounce back, because the truth is the work is never done, right? The inner work is never done. And so when we step into this transformation and the becoming of the next level person, that's not us done. We don't arrive. There will be another moment in time where we have to redo this work. But that's the best bit about this course. It's yours for life. So no matter how many moments you have, no matter how many times you have to transform, this program is there for you to come back to turn back to. And as I feel called to return and add new modules, I will add new modules over the time and the lifespan of this course. So I hope that helped. I hope that gave clarity. I hope that gave you wisdom. If you want to jump into the Becoming course, you can do that until the 1st of September. It's open for enrollment at $555 US. until, and on a 3-month payment plan until the 1st of September. And then the price goes up because obviously the new module is added. So if you get in there on the pre-sale, you're going to get the new module for free. That basically gets dropped in as part of your account. But otherwise the price goes up from the 1st of September, and it goes up quite a bit because I just honestly know the value of this program. I know the value of just like how epic this is, how much knowledge I've poured into it, how much experience, how many other experts I've pulled on in there. So yeah, I'm buzzing for you. Buzzing for you. So I hope that you resonated with this episode. If you loved it, let me know. Give me a tag, drop me a message. Let me know if you've got any questions about the Becoming course. You can slide into the DMs and I can get those answered for you so you can jump in ahead of the 1st of September. So I love you all very much. Have the most beautiful rest of day, and I'll speak to you soon.